Okay, welcome to episode 8 of Nexus Now, a Nexus Gaming Series podcast, bringing you news, stories, and personalities from the NGS community, as well as the greater Heroes of the Storm universe. My name is Jackster, and I'm joined here today by my two wonderful co-hosts, Ghost Dunk and Murda. Ghost Dunk, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Welcome to the softer, quieter, gentler Nexus Now. Episode 8, we're trying something a little different, maybe a little ASMR. Hope you're doing well.
Murda, how you doing?
I'm bringing the rock and roll.
Nothing can get you down, man. You are riding high on cloud 9. Okay.
Was that close enough to ETC? I don't know.
I maybe figured it out, but you added an Australian accent in there.
Okay. So like maybe 80%.
What's your favorite ETC line? Mine is, "Hey, look, a dead body."
Yeah, that one's okay. I just think, let's get ready to rock.
I don't think he ever says that.
No,
my favorite one, it has to be the mariachi, and when he, I mean, all of his voice lines are great, but then when he goes into Mosh Pit, he has the mariachi sounds. Someone made the great suggestion that you should be able to like upload any piece of music that you have and have it play for Mosh Pit for like 4 to 6 seconds, and I thought that would be like the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, it'll be exactly like sprays in Counter-Strike 1.6.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Jax, you'd put on like Despacito or something.
Yes,
I got you.
It's so sad.
Moving on, because Murda's girlfriend will beat him up if we don't get out of here as fast as possible.
Shout out to Courtney if you ever listen to this.
Table of contents. So first we're going to be looking at the playoff picture, who's up, who's down. We're going into the finals weeks, so this week and next for the grand finals. We're going to see how the playoffs are developing, any surprises. We're going to take it from division to division. Then we're going to look at the team league and the patch follow-up from the last week. So how have the Kerrigan and Brightwing changes affected the league? What are our overall opinions on Team League? How have they changed? We had a pretty big discussion on the last pod between Ghost and I. I imagine that'll get pretty heated again today. News. So we have balance patches, we have PTR patches, we have notes from Blizzard that we'll get to. And then later on, we are going to have the interview with the HeroesHelp winner, who won the perk for the podcast interview by donating to the HeroesHelp breast cancer awareness charity tournament that we had on Sunday. That was fantastic. Thank you for everybody that showed up and that donated. It means a lot. And then we're going to have shoutouts. So we want to jump right in. Season 5 playoffs.
It sounds like a full day. I don't have much, but Murda does.
Yeah, Season 5 playoffs in full swing. We're just about through with the divisional semifinal round, heading into the division finals. And there is a lot of action that's gone on. Let's start down Division E. We had Save the Murlocs taking it over Married and Mediocre in a huge battle. They won it 2-0, and Married and Mediocre looked so solid all season. This is a huge surprise to me, guys.
Yeah, and so I'm writing for it. So I have, let me pull up my write-up that I had done. I had noted that Merit and Mediocre, while they were in a great position at the start of the playoffs, that it wasn't one of those dominant performances like what you'll see in other divisions. It was, especially in the lower divisions, like anybody can overcome, anybody can just through, you discover a cheese comp or one patch goes your way, like these things happen and people can take advantage of it. Not to diminish what Save the Murloc did, because that's phenomenal. But it's going to be very interesting for the finals.
They'll be facing off against Olaf and the Sweaty Bandits in the finals. Ghost, do you have something to add to that?
Oh yeah, just saying it's going to be a common theme as we go through these playoffs. In NGS, like one of the big things you see is in the postseason, like teams pull it together. Teams maybe finally have their compositions working. They've got their teamwork improved, and so it's usually a different story with a few teams in the postseason.
Yeah, we saw this last season with Dat Tasto, number 7 seed in Division D, came up and got to the finals. Like things like this happen, and it's very exciting.
The Division D playoffs in the West, we had Off-Brand Cereal, the number 1 seed, move on to the finals. They'll face the winner of Longhorn Gaming and Mildly Interesting, but so far it's looking like the number 1 seed's holding set there in the West.
Yeah, Off-Brand Cereal. I think this is probably going to be... they've been dominant pretty much the entire season, so it is... It's going to be interesting. I want to see if someone could take it off. Longhorn Gaming, I apologize. They've been working very hard, and if they beat Mildly Interesting, they will have the best shot. I believe they. Let me check my notes real quick. Longhorn Gaming was only dominated once during their entire regular season. It was from the number 4 Lightly Salted. And they've been able to use Sonya and Stukov to just kind of stomp people from there. So we'll see. Maybe they'll get away with it against Off-Brand Cereal. It'll be a close game.
And in the East, we had an upset in the semifinals. United East taking the 2-1 victory over number 1 seed Wood League. It's going to pit them up in those Eastern finals up against That Was Jimmy, who took down Zul'jin Distillery in the semifinals.
And I want to point out, Zul'jin Distillery took down Lubu, who had been dominating the entire regular season. They were undefeated at a certain point.
A 2-0 victory in that opening round for Zul'jin Distillery over Lubu. Yeah, that's a tremendous win for them.
Yeah, shout out to Zul'jin Distillery, which has been a NGS team for a couple seasons now, and so it's always fun to see these returning faces. We'll see you guys in the future as well, because this is what these storylines happen. You improve, you get better, and you face off against some of the better teams in the playoffs, and sometimes you win, and it's really exciting to see.
For Division C West, we had in the semifinals the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, the number 3 seed, and the number 4 seed all make it past that first round. They faced off in the semifinals, but the story right now, Arrogant Nephilim and their march towards these finals has not stopped. They didn't drop a game yet in the playoffs. They knocked out Virtual Murky Slayers. And then Tickle Me Tassadar takes the 2-1 as the number 3 seed over the number 2 Sidestep. They move on to these division finals.
I think the key to winning NGS finals, definitely having Tassadar in your name.
And then, of course, over in the East, we had a similar story. The 1 through 4 seed also made it through there. But in this one, we had the number 1 seed, a Square and 4 Triangles advance, as well as the number 2 seed, Give Me the D Shield. They'll be facing off in the Division C East finals.
Yeah, and shout out to, we talked about Dat Tasto from last season. Give him the D Shield, has a couple of members from there, and Dr. C Jelly, who we talked to on this podcast. So, we're not picking favorites, but good luck to everybody.
All right, a similar story continues in Division B West. The number 1 through 4 seeds also made it through the semifinals. Bellevue College, this team has been absolutely unstoppable all season. They knocked off the number 4 seed Drop Dead Gorgeous in the semifinals. We're waiting to see who their opponent's going to be. Actually, I think that match was played last night between PFM and Make 7 Up Yours. I can try to check the results on that really quick.
Yeah, and I'll carry on from here. So Bellevue College has just been completely dominant this entire season in Division B West, I believe. And so, not to derail the conversation a bit, but and not to diminish any of their achievements, but this goes into a larger conversation that we're probably going to have in future podcasts about how we place teams. And we don't want to present the image that every placement that we make is completely perfect, but that we try our best to see, based on MMRs, based on past rankings, based on everything like that, where teams should fit, and sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. Bellevue College will probably be on our radar to move up next season, so not to diminish their accomplishments this season. Going a perfect record is impressive, and we'll see if it continues throughout this playoffs.
That's what we in the podcast business call foreshadowing.
So I don't see a result posted from the PFM Make 7 Up Yours match, but I do see the result here that Mildly Interesting takes the 2-0 over Longhorn Gaming last night.
Nice.
All right, and then we have Division B East, where Gilly Shark has advanced to the finals, knocking out number 8 seed Team Braindead in the semis. They're going to face off against HOTUS in those finals, as Heroes of the United States knocked off the blue team 2-0 in the semifinals.
Boy, golly, these names sound familiar.
Yeah. I was just going to say these teams have been around a lot. They've been from last season, and I know Gilly is going to be in particular watching the Gilly Sharks.
This is a rematch, though. I believe this was the same finals from last season. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I did see Gilly threw out a tweet cheering on Gilly Shark for those semifinals. It paid off. They took the 2-0. And
nice.
You mentioned HOTUS. They've been around for a while. This is a very established team. I personally have them picked to win this final just because of how dominant they've been in the past. Any thoughts on who you think is going to take that matchup? You think Gilly Shark has it in him?
It's tough. It's tough for me to say. HOTUS I know a lot more about because on my old team, Moto Miracle, Rip Moto Miracle, we used to scrim them a lot, and they're a really solid team that works really well together. But Gilly Shark, no pushovers either, and this is one of my most favorite matches to be excited about. If I can grab Gilly Shark versus HOTUS, I probably will. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but definitely one of the better matches to look forward to. It's the revenge match.
For the Division A West playoffs, we see Archetype moving on to the finals. They're the number 1 seed. They'll face off against the number 2 seed, Adults with Jobs. And these are the two teams that start with the letter A, facing off to get that A seed out of the West.
It's alliteration rules above all, clearly.
Ghost, this is your wheelhouse.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Archetype beat Blasting Burrows. Blasting Burrows are fantastic. All these are great teams. Archetype, though, I had really keyed in as winning the division from the get-go. We scrimmed them early on, and they're a very scary team. They've got everything together. They've got a really strong macro game. Like they're just firing on all cylinders. So I'm not surprised that they made it through the finals. Who won Adults with Jobs Stepdads? Okay, Adults with Jobs won. They've been doing really well. I love those guys. Those guys are fantastic. I believe I got to see them. I got to cast them versus Soak Every Lane. That was a really good matchup there. Stepdads are also really strong. Another really good team with a lot of really good players. So Division A is looking really. A West is looking like a lot of fun. This is a really good division, very competitive. But I do expect Archetype to win the final. And
for Division A East, we have ZZZ, the number 1 seed, moving on to the finals. They're going to face the winner of Happy Accidents and a Sticky Situation. Do we have the results there? Okay, yeah. So again, it's the number 1 versus the number 2 seed here in the East, just as we saw in the West. And I've seen Happy Accidents play this season, very solid squad, but up against ZZZ, do they actually have enough to make it past the number 1 seed?
I think so. I think Park has been running a really strong team. He's gonna at me again and be like, "Oh, I didn't do nothing." But he's the main drafter for that team. He also makes sure everybody practices. He gets a lot of help from like coaching stuff. He works with the Nexus Schoolhouse Discord and talks with a lot of GMs and some really strong coaches, people like Cav Guest, people like Epic Soars, some people around. And let's see, he posted in Nexus Schoolhouse the other day after his win, says, got to draft Genji, Abathur, Murden, Junkrat, and Dahaka on Braxis. So that gives you an idea of where his brain is at for these finals. I'm very fascinated that First Pick Gazlo drops to ZZZ. Oh God, I love saying that. It seems like a really strong team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit biased because they beat me, but I love the guy. Noob Slice 420. Like, I love the guy. He's worked with my offlaner to help him out. He's just a great guy overall, and I'm wishing the best of luck to both teams, ZZZ and Happy Accidents. Like, whoever wins, it will purely be, they were the stronger squad. It's not going to be cheese. It's not going to be anything other than the deserving victory, like 100%.
And let's briefly take a peek over at the Heroic division, where Regen Black knocks off Offensive Gaming. Texas A&M 2-0's Pride Star Gaming, so number 1 versus 2 in Heroic division. I got to cast Texas A&M and Pride Stark. I caught game number 2. I was casting some Heroes Hype amateur series at the time, but it seemed like a competitive match. I heard game number 1 was a little bit closer than game number 2, but overall it seemed like teams had a good time with it and ended up with Texas A&M taking it over Pride Stark.
We talked earlier about Texas A&M and what a fun squad they are to watch. They've been around for a while. They were Team Maroon last season. They've played in Heroes of the Dorm. I know I've scrimmed against them, I think, once. They're a great squad to be around, and I'm wishing them the best of luck in Heroes of the Dorm this year. I really think they can make it to the Final Four if they keep improving with what they are doing right now.
And if you want to watch Texas A&M esports play in the dorm season, make sure you check out twitch.tv/MurdaRG, because I will be their official caster co-host. So definitely keep an eye on that. I actually have a match this afternoon I'll be doing. But for the finals, they're going to face off against Regen Black, which is a developing situation to say the least. We won't talk too much about it here, but number 1 versus number 2 seed for Heroic Division. And then looking at the Storm Division, we have the Chicken Nuggets taking a forfeit victory from Trademark Gaming, who couldn't put a roster together. So Chicken Nuggets moving on to the finals. And then Team Name Change versus FWC Esports have not played their match yet, but that is going to be one of the best matches of the season right there.
Yeah, real shame that Trademark Gaming had to forfeit that match. I know time was really broken up about that, and we all are pretty much, because this is the premier division, and yeah, it really does suck.
Yeah, things happen. But I do want to shout out Trademark Gaming versus DG. That was a fun game to cast, and man, time they had to pull in 2 subs, and time just really hard carried that, like hyper carried basically. They did double support both games, and it was just the time show. It was great.
Okay, that seems like the end of Season 5 playoffs. Once again, thank you, and good luck to all of the teams that are competing. It's going to be a really fun finals, and we hope we end the season strong. Moving on, let's look at a bit of the Team League and patch follow-up from the last episode. So starting off with Kerrigan and Brightwing, have your opinions on them changed? Now we know a balance patch has gone out to address a few of their minor over or underperforming abilities, but has your general opinions on them changed? Let's go with Ghost Dunk.
No. And I mean, with the patch, yes. But my opinions about how well they do since last episode has not changed, because Kerrigan was an absolute monster. The thing I didn't know about Brightwing when we were talking about her is that when she hit the PTR, she was actually missing a key feature on one of her new talents. Her cleanse used to pre-cleanse on the PTR for just a millisecond, a little bit, but just enough that you could like dodge, big power slides. You could dodge, Diablo Apox. You could do a lot of pre-cleanse stuff with Brightwing, but you couldn't do that once she went live. I don't think that matters so much as far as her win rates go in Hero League, because, cleanse is never a good winning talent in Hero League, but in competitive, I think it would have made a big difference, and I think you would have seen a lot more Brightwing in the pro scene. So as it stands, I think it's possible that we see her as a macro hero like she used to be, but she's not going to be like super priority like I thought she might be. Kerrigan, on the other hand, was absolutely busted as everybody said she was, and the buffs look like they've brought her back down to earth. She lost. She's down to 50% win rate now, but she lost like 10 or 11 percentage points in her win rate, according to the Critic Kitten article that pops up every now and then.
Yeah, for me, Kerrigan, she's living or dying based on that assimilation, how much shielding she can get, and how long she can sustain playing that front line, where you saw her appear as a tank in some compositions. Now I think after that balance patch, the follow-up at least, is that now she's a little bit more limited in how much flexibility she has playing that sort of pseudo tank role. But I still think Kerrigan, she lives or dies based off the combo for the most part. Players that are successful in hitting it are going to naturally play the hero better. And if you struggle to hit it, it's going to make it a tough time for you to be playing Kerrigan.
I still think we're going to see Kerrigan in BlizzCon at least once.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely think she's still good, especially with higher level players. I think Blizzard was right in it was the assimilation. There was the 10 to 15%. Like, it doesn't seem like a lot, but something to keep in mind whenever you see these reworks to melee assassins is that they live or die by their survivability. So Illidan has his auto attack speed and his basic attack lifesteal. Kerrigan has the assimilation. Butcher has the brand. These heroes, they live or die by this. So if they get their survivability tools off and they're just slightly better, it can make them just completely busted to us. I mean, everybody, I imagine, has clips of Kerrigan just essentially diving into the enemy team. 5 people, not to get a combo, just to press R on Maelstrom and just get infinite shields. You legitimately cannot pierce through the shields fast enough to kill her.
Yeah, and that Ultralisk stun is actually pretty solid. A lot of people are taking Ultralisk now.
Yeah. I've been seeing it. I still think Maelstrom is a little bit better and a little bit more meta, but you know, we can see the Maelstrom. If it had like Unstoppable, it'd be interesting to see it used as like an interrupt for like Mosh or something. So we don't know. Okay, so I think we're done. Kerrigan, God tier, probably getting a little bit brought down. Brightwing, not as good as we might have thought. And
well, actually, I mean, yeah, Brightwing's win rate actually higher than Kerrigan's in Hero League, and about the same in Team League. So I mean, she's still good. I don't think she's going to be super meta in pro play.
Okay, moving on to what will now be pretty old news, but Hotslogs released a tweet. I don't know if you guys saw that Team League is now more popular than Hero League. So I thought we did it. We did it, Reddit. So I have some opinions on this, but Ghost, you take it away before I steal the mic away.
Okay, it's fine. Team League being more popular than Hero League, I'm not surprised. There's one major reason, then a couple other minor reasons. I think the major reason is different than everyone else. It's being able to pick out of order. If you can solo into Team League and play, and you just want to like slam a hero, like people are going to enjoy that a lot more than a forced order pick. And the forced order pick is so awful. Like it's almost as good as having swaps. The being able to pick out of order, which is something a Hero League has desperately needed for a long time. And then of course you've got, the ability to solo queue or, queue up this 4 or 3 or however many you want in Team League. And I've kind of like shot down the idea before. I'm not sure if it's been on this podcast or not, but the only reason that I would be against that is because I was under the opinion that dynamic queue would be unpopular compared to a forced queue. And looks like Blizzard has decided to put that to the test. And it looks like that instinct was wrong. And I was basing that solely off of how people from League of Legends reacted.
So a couple more points to add. One, Team League, you're actually getting more bonus experience, especially during this event we have going on right now, that you're able to unlock more loot chests because you're getting that extra boost of experience each match. And second point is, you don't need your heroes to be at level 5 in order to use them in a Team League.
Yeah.
Queue. So 2 more big points that like really buff up the numbers in Team League a bit.
What do you guys think? I agree. And it does seem a little strange. Well, not strange. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but it seems like Team League is just better unranked draft now because like what you said, Ghost, you can pick out of order, and that's like a huge plus. I think the thing is that, but I don't think that's what Blizzard intended. Maybe it is, but it essentially Team League rank, and I'm sure we'll get into this, kind of means nothing. Still, the matchmaking is still like a joke. And so people just use Team League as like what you were using it for last pod, Ghost. Like, just I don't want to do the seriousness of Hero League. I just want to play games and maybe fit for my team and stuff like that.
Right. Well, I mean that resulted in my Team League rank being just tanked, and now that everyone's playing Team League, it sucks that I got to play at a lower rank.
Yeah, so we can get into that actually in the why I still feel like net negative against Team League, because if Blizzard wants to make like Team League the new unranked, I'd be all for it, but they are still trying to pass it off as the premier game mode, and the, you know, you can put a border on your hero that says Grandmaster number 50 on Team League, and people might think like, oh, you're Grandmaster 50 in Hero League. Like, it does not matter. Again, I know some people might disagree, but I still think the matchmaker is just completely lost all legitimacy, and it really doesn't place people correctly. So if you'll see, I'll post this in the link. Chris, we all know Chris, Platinum, Plat 3. Clearly not a Platinum 3 player in Team League. We still have people getting misplaced. Apparently placement games don't work that well. I'm curious as to see you guys' opinion. Like, do you agree with me in saying that, like, I really don't put that much weight on Team League matchmaking?
I'm gonna jump in. I think until we see them put just a straight MMR on your profile, people will always complain about matchmaking. There needs to be a way, if you do not play, that you completely derank. You see people who've been masters in the past, played maybe 10 games during a season, got incorrectly placed into masters seasons ago, come back without playing a season in between, and are getting placed right back into masters. I saw a thread on Reddit with a clip from Cure where just this situation happened. He was showing this guy's profile. And we're, of course, not trying to target anyone here on this podcast, but it just so happens that these sorts of things are going to occur until Blizzard finds a way to fix it and derank these people, or just show the straight MMR with some sort of ability to decay that MMR a bit over time. I don't think this will ever change.
So I have a couple things about this. So one, it's more about information. So when Cure showed that dude that was like, he played maybe 10, 20 games like every season. I don't think it was more than 15. And then he's like all of a sudden masters because he won a few games and, you know, his MMR went to the right place. In that situation, Blizzard is faced with a really difficult issue, which is, what do you do with someone that doesn't play the game at all ever, and that you still need to match them with people? You know, it's the uncertainty factor on those players is very high. So you have to say, okay, well, if they win a game, I'm going to move their MMR a bunch. So if MMR was visible, if they were giving us information about the system, I think you're absolutely right, Murda. That would completely fix it. Because if you look at that and Cure looks and says, oh, this dude's Platinum, he was up to Masters now, he's just placed Masters. What the heck is going on? You look at his MMR, and it's like, oh, well, his MMR is really high. And his MMR is really high, you know, maybe because he plays a few games, but there's nothing that you can do about that because it's kind of an impossible situation. If you look at like how Chu ranked up in like Hero League, his MMR was super high. He was like a full rank ahead of everybody else in most of his games, and Blizzard doesn't want that happening where, you know, you've got a plat playing with a gold because, you know, a full rank ahead because like their MMR is super low or something.
And the other issue too, which Jax, I want to get your comment on this, is the personal rank adjustment and how much at the top end of Hero League you're hearing it more and more from people, how it ends up just being a grind fest. Who can play the most games, because you're getting 240 points per win and only losing 160 per loss because that PRA sitting at plus 40. What are your thoughts on this and how it's affecting Hero League, and even now how it's affecting Team League a bit?
Yeah, so this has been a big sticking point in Hero League, and something that, honestly, I'll be upfront with you guys, I've not abused, but I've been on the receiving end of it. So I consistently rank Master 2,000 points pretty much every season. I don't play Hero League that much anymore because I'm not a huge fan of the incredible competition that there is. But because I've mastered 2,000 every season, Blizzard has a good idea that my MMR is much higher than the Master 1000 that it places me. So when I play those games, I will get 30, 35 PRA every single game, even if I win or lose. And it really is disheartening because there are people who grind up from like Diamond who don't have that. and there are master and grandmaster players who are there simply because, again, they played the most games. Not to diminish the hard work of a lot of grandmasters who get up to like 10,000 points like incredibly quickly. Like, it's not all just from PRA. Like, it's because they're good players, but the PRA helps a lot, and I don't know if it should be as stringent. On the flip side, in Team League, I feel like the exact opposite. So we'll get into this a little bit. So I was placed Gold 2 in Team League. This isn't to say woe is me, but I've consistently been Diamond 3 pretty much every season in Team League, and I'm a Master 2000 player. I don't play Team League that much, so Blizzard doesn't really have a great idea of where I am placed. But it did not show me in my placement games. I went 9-1, 9 wins, and then I lost the last one. It did not give me better teammates. Like what you were saying, Ghost, that like, hey, if you continuously win, like maybe it doesn't want to put a plat with a gold. Well, it definitely doesn't want to put a diamond or a master player with a gold. But I was consistently being put there, and I kept winning these games, but it didn't move me up to say, like, hey, like, maybe we should start putting this guy with plat or diamond people. It just said, no, we're dead set, like, you're gold 2, and it placed me there. I've since moved up to plat 3 within 4 days, so at an 80% win rate. So it's easy to say that, you know, I think they're wrong, but my overall point is the PRA is not working. I'm not getting a PR. This is where a performance rank adjustment should be working. Look, I have an 80% win rate over the course of about 50 games. Like, the matchmaker should be able to take into account, like, say, hey, this guy is crushing people in these games. Like, clearly this person deserves to be higher. You know, we need to get him there faster, or else he's just going to continue to ruin games as he moves up. I'm an unintentional Smurf.
Yeah, I think I think this is a case of Blizzard not doing the math on the thing on correctly for Team League, or even Hero League in general. I think MMR, if you could see your MMR, I think you would say, you know, it would be like, oh, okay, well, for whatever reason, it's moved my MMR down to gold or whatever. Or maybe it's not. Maybe, you know, it has your MMR in a different place. If that was public, we could know why all these things are happening. The same thing with PRA and Masters. So with Masters, it's actually a different story, and some EU Grandmasters are constantly complaining about this, because what is happening is when you hit Masters, the PRA calculation seems to change. So if you're ranking through Diamond and you're not getting any PRA, if you hit Masters, all of a sudden you will be suddenly getting PRA out of nowhere, and it looks like they have a different MMR system for Masters that they do Diamond. And I think last season, and I'm not sure about this season, it got to a place where every single Masters player was considered to be at a higher rank Master than they were, and that allowed them to basically never lose points. You could get people were having like a 40% win rate and not deranking, not losing points.
I hadn't heard of this. This is It does sound like Masters is coded differently than the other.
Yeah, I think it's Blizzard needs to take a look at the math, and I think Team League might be part of a larger experiment for them. It sounds to me like Team League is the hard MMR reset everybody was looking for, because a lot of people didn't play Team League a bunch, and I bet they have different rules for MMR, and I think a lot of, like, you know, Chris, I don't know what he did in Team League before, if he was Masters before, or if he was just screwing around, but like he, you know, went down to Plat 2, and that, my guess is that's because of some soft MMR resets, and I don't know what his placement games. Did he go 9-1 or something like that?
He went some ridiculously high number.
Yeah, and ended up in Plat, and like maybe that says to me like maybe the system bumped him down all the way to gold, but you know.
And he's at a 90% win rate, by the way, for his game so far. So if you think, like, I'm misplaced, he is really misplaced.
Of course, I mean, you know, it's Chris, but I think it sounds like more of a hard MMR reset situation, and you know, people are gonna rank up. I'd rather see players ranked too low than too high, to be honest, because then you get players that get up to Master. And if they're not Master 1000, you know, they have an incentive not to play ever, because then they can just go around waving their, big old master around. And I know you know, I've met players though online that are like, it's like, dude, like, what the hell? You just went in there and fed. He's like, check my MMR, look at my profile, I'm Master 1000. Like, no, you're not, dude.
So let's move on. Let's talk about some of this news that's come through the news feed over the past couple of weeks. Top of the headlines, our captain Alan DeBeery is leaving Heroes of the Storm. You guys have any just like base general thoughts on this? For me personally, I got to meet Alan DeBeery. We call him ADAB. I got to meet him at BlizzCon last year. Such a nice guy. Seemed really in love with the game. And for me personally, I'm pretty sad about this happening. I think he's been great for the game. A lot of the things he's done have moved the game in the right direction. Although on the other side of the coin, there is a lot of people saying that there's some things that could have been better. Some of the bugs we saw for a while with Genji and Tracer, some of these things we're talking about with Hero League and Team League placement, stuff like that. There's been some things that haven't been perfect. So how do we feel with a new leader coming onto the game?
I think it'll be good for being better at fixing some of these things. You get new talent in there, leading people. I think it sounds like KO Milker was going to do it. He has a lot of passion for the game, and I think with someone new, they'll have a better idea of where to devote resources. Like, let's not forget, this is a management position. This is not a dude that's like, every time you see a Genji or Tracer bug, like, you can yell at Alan DeBeery, and because he's the boss, he takes, he has to take responsibility for it, but he's just a manager. Like, he's pointing people around, and he's giving a general direction for the game. And I think in that sense, he's done a fantastic job. And, Heroes has such a small team. It's hard to keep up. So, I mean, he's, think about your boss.
Let's not talk about my boss. Actually, I like I just recently got a new boss at work. Love him. Old boss, not so much.
Yeah, and I think that's, everybody loves each other at Blizzard, it sounds like. It sounds like it's a really healthy environment to work at. My personal thought on this is that, Blizzard has a new project going on, and they've had one since basically the end of last BlizzCon, when Dustin Browder left. And coming from a software company that does have a new project going on, everybody wants to join it. If there's something new and exciting happening, everyone's like, oh, let me go over there and work on this, because I am sick of all this stuff in my work. I'm sick of all the tangle of code and all the problems I have to deal with every day. Just give me something new to work on. I want something fresh. And that's like a software engineer and manager, like, that's their dream, is to work on this greenfield project. So, Alan DeBeery next up in line to be like, let me at that new project.
You mean Warcraft 4, right?
Lost Vikings
Warcraft, 2. Yeah, Lost Vikings in Warcraft, World of Diablo 7.
Yeah, I mean, people forget this is exactly what happened to StarCraft 2, and the StarCraft 2 people weren't too happy about the fans. Like, Dustin Browder left after, I think, Heart of the Swarm to come and start working on Heroes of the Storm. And then Alan DeBeery came over, and now they're moving on. Now, there's no way this doesn't look disheartening, because, people are leaving Heroes for another project. It is a little disheartening, but I feel like we are in good hands with people who still respect it. It's just, I think it just kind of reestablishes Blizzard's kind of feel for what Heroes is. It's kind of an afterthought.
It is.
I hate to say it like that, but Alan was on for about 2 years. I checked. I didn't think it was that long, but Dustin Browder left December of 2016, and so this will be about 2 years for Alan. But you look at something like Jeff Kaplan, who has been the Overwatch head since the game launched in May 2016 and before, for like 2-3 years when the game was in development. So it really does. I think it's impossible to see how this isn't just, it's not as flashy. It's not something that they want to spend their overwhelming amount of attention on. It sucks, but our job as player base is to continuously support them and make them know that this is a game worth supporting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not okay. So Jeff Kaplan's staying on Overwatch. Overwatch is their big thing right now. And when Heroes of the Storm came out, when Overwatch came out, you saw two completely different reactions from the public. And Blizzard is a company that knows how to make money. That said, World of Warcraft, I haven't looked at subscriber numbers, but, Battle for Azeroth, a lot of people hate some of the systems that are in play there, and they're already changing a bunch of them. But, player grousing aside, I think it brought a lot of people back to the game, and yet you do see somebody leaving the World of Warcraft management team. And they make so much money from World of Warcraft. But I think that a lot of the management are focused on where can we take, this company next. Heroes of the Storm. I think it was always meant to be like, this is something that we can just keep going without putting a whole ton of resources into it. Even though it's a strong game and they want to keep pushing it, it's meant to be self-sustaining as compared to something like StarCraft 2, which died because it's a single-player game. And you have to keep making content for it if you want people to keep playing for it. If you want people to keep playing it, because as an esport, it just wasn't working out.
Yeah, and I think you've seen a lot. World of Warcraft right now, their Twitch numbers are through the roof since Battle for Azeroth came out.
It's all about those
Heroes
turtles.
of the Storm, though, you can't discount. It was the number 6 most watched esport of 2018. At least to this point, and that that includes some really big games, your Dotas, your League of Legends, your Overwatch, your CS:GOs, like all these other games, Fortnite now being so popular.
Yeah.
And Heroes of the Storm, it's number 6.
Yeah. I would call Heroes of the Storm top of the others list. So you have Dota, League of Legends, Overwatch, Hearthstone. I forget what the other one was. Maybe maybe
CS:GO and Fortnite.
It's one of them. But after Hearthstone, there's a huge drop-off of viewership, and then the next one is Heroes of the Storm. So there's like the top 6, top 5, and then there's Heroes of the Storm, and then everyone else. So Heroes of the Storm not really close to cracking those top 5 numbers. But it's encouraging, though. People are still watching the game. People are still tuning in. You had a really good host recently. I think we talked about this on the podcast before. They hosted Heroes of the Storm HGC, and people stuck around. People watched it. I think it can really work as an esport. I think as more people learn about the game, they're going to start getting into it. If they can fix Quick Match, and we talked about this last pod, if they can fix Quick Match, and if they can make the game more appealing to new people joining it, I think with the if there's some good stuff at BlizzCon, I think Heroes stands a chance of getting even more popular going on.
So let's move on. Talk about the newest hero coming to the game. Mal Ganis finally announced after a lot of people have been calling for him to be in the game for so long. I've had the opportunity to play him on the PTR. Looks like he could be one of two things. He could either be that dominant solo laner that a lot of people originally thought, or some people suggesting he actually has enough to be a main tank. Jackster, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'm going to have to gauge your reaction because essentially everybody has taken a side in this. I am of the firm belief he is a solo laner. I do not think that the 0.75 second stun on a delay that he has to like hit very carefully, I don't think it's good enough for him. I agree he has a lot of good sustain, but I think that ability to sustain in wave is what's going to push him to the offlane role. And I'm not too happy about it because, again, we don't need another Urel or Blaze or Sonya, like some big body in the lane. The tank meta right now is very stale. We only have 3, 4 if you count Garrosh, main tanks, and it really doesn't look like Mal'Ganis is going to be able to.
It's hard. It's hard because every time a warrior comes out, you play Schrodinger's warrior. You say this warrior is either an offlaner or he's a main tank, and nobody is quite sure until the meta hits, and then even then it can change. I mean, right now we're seeing a lot of people consider Blaze to be a main tank. I think it's just NA people saying this, but that being said, we'll see what happens in BlizzCon. It's actually a finer line than people realize, because one of the things, a tank isn't just about health pool, it's about engage and vision and a whole lot of other things. And I think in this case, it's the engage. He's got everything else that he needs. He's got a decent peel. His stun works really well for that. But his engage is rough, and it's the same thing as Blaze. A lot of pros in NA think Blaze is a tank now because his health pool is high enough so that his lack of engage isn't a problem. There's counterplay to Blaze engage. His stun is a huge windup, and it's and really good players can avoid that. Now, I'll mention Hero League, 100% you can main tank Mal'Ganis. You can main tank Blaze. You can main tank a lot of people that really shouldn't be tanks in Hero League, because the reason a lot of heroes aren't tanks in pro play is because of high level counterplay.
So I want to talk a bit about Mal'Ganis' kit. I think we mentioned the Fell Claws, the way the stun is locked behind that third swipe, and having it be somewhat predictable, I think will make it easier for players to dodge compared to something like a power slide that's just an instant, like, I'm in your face as ETC. But I do think it's very impactful because it's a big area he's swinging. He can hit multiple heroes a la like Blaze with his jet propulsion. But I think this one's a bit easier than Blaze having that jet propulsion because there's no true windup, I guess. Mm-hmm. You can be right on top of them at any given moment, but you have to stay tight on them. But Mal'Ganis has plenty of options in his talents to go into more movement speed, which in my opinion is going to make this a lot easier for it to go down. And I think you're actually going to see the Fell Claws be just absolutely wrecking people at the end of the day. You pair that with his E, the Night Rush, that puts heroes to sleep, gives him a really good burst setup, gives him a disengagement tool for his team, and that kind of sets up more of a defensive role that Mal'Ganis can play as well.
Yeah, let's not get things twisted. His engage is not his third swipe. His engage is his sleep.
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see how much value people get off of that, though.
Mm-hmm. It's like the question now is like, does Mal'Ganis like sleepily like walking at you at 50% movement speed? Is there any counterplay to that? Mal'Ganis's engage is his sleep. The question is really, is there any counterplay to him just running at you with 50% movement speed?
I mean, you can interrupt it. He's not unstoppable. It's not like Rework where you can just Wraith walk through and it's easy. He is, in real time with that, and you can get stunned out of it and maybe put yourself in a bad position. I don't think sleep is a great CC ability. We'll get to it later with Anna, but
yeah,
I don't know. He'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think if they nerf his health pool, people will stop seeing him as such a main tank. He's got a similar problem to ETC in that you can blow him the F up. Any kind of CC just wrecks Mal'Ganis.
And then let's not leave the segment without talking about his heroic options. We have the Kerrigan Swarm, which will put you invulnerable for 3 seconds. You'll get to swirl around on enemies and heal off of the damage you do to heroes. And then the other option, Dark Conversion, which this one is
memes, baby.
It's either a meme or it's top tier, but you're going to switch health pools or health percentages rather with your target over 3 seconds.
Is there any real debate? I mean, one is a Last Rites and one is a better Tormented Souls, and they're both on an 80-second cooldown. I think there's no argument here whatsoever. You can actually lose health, by the way, like if you use it badly and like you think like, oh, like he has 75% health and I have like 30% health, but like in between you casting it you get healed up to 50% and he gets blown up to like 10%. Like you can swap health with him and give him more health. I think it's so bad of an ult.
It's not so bad.
They're gonna buff it to 60-second cooldown. They're gonna nerf they're gonna nerf the other ult to 100 seconds. It's an invulnerable that heals you to full, man. Like, no. It's not even a question.
I mean, it's still a good ult, but I think they're both good ults. I think I honestly think conversion is going to see a higher win rate because I think it's easier to use. And I only say that in pubs because it's a point and click. With the other ult, you have to go into stasis and you have to realize that you have to attack everybody. I mean, it's still going to be good, but I think the higher win rate is going to be dark conversion because it's super simple to understand and it's super simple to execute. If you get low, you click on somebody, and because in Hero League there's no target focus, you don't die, and so now you kill your opponent and you win.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this. It appears that the jury is still out on which heroic is going to be more popular, as you can tell here from our hosts on Nexus now. I do think I'm going to throw my vote in. I think Dark Conversion is going to end up making it happen. Pair it up with the last rites, and you have an instant delete on any target you want. It could be a lot of fun, but it could also be a bit memey. But before we end this episode, Jax, we have to talk about Ana, and I'm going to leave this one for you, my man.
Okay, Murda. So, as anybody who know, I'm a huge Ana fan. I main her in Overwatch, and I've gotten her to a depressingly high number level in Heroes. So I have a lot of thoughts on this change.
I'm sorry, you're a huge who fan?
Ana. Ana. It's Ana.
I'm just giving you crap.
So overall, TLDR is, I don't think it's going to be as monumental as the change was in Overwatch. I mean, the change, obviously, for those who aren't aware, is Q now pierces full health heroes. I don't think it's going to be as monumental as it was in Overwatch, because in Overwatch, you can pump out shots a lot faster, and so there's a lot less time for like warriors that are in your front to soak shots, and it will be able to go past. I think in HOTS, you're going to be in positions where you want it to pierce, but your warrior is on like, he's missing like 65 health, and it's still going to heal him. And then like, oh, it's a 2-second cooldown for EQ. It's like, oh, he's taking another like 65 damage and like heal again. So I don't think it's, I still think eQuest at 1 is a must take, just pierce baseline. So I don't think it's that good. My bigger issue, and I really don't like to rag on the Blizzard developing team that often. I mean, I do, but I don't want to appear that way. Is that this change took 5 months to do. It took 5 months after they actively acknowledged it and they posted that they were doing internal testing on it in a Reddit thread. It took 5 months. It's still on PTR. Like, this seems like an incredibly simple change, and it really kind of shows you how kind of bare bones the developing team is, that they couldn't get this change live in 5 months. I know, Ghost, you want to jump in and...
Yeah, I completely disagree. I think it's just such a low priority thing for them. I mean, if they had a bigger testing unit, if they had a bigger amount of people working on the game, it could have come out faster. I don't think it's a 5 month thing. I think that that's the price Blizzard pays for being open with what they're doing. I think most changes at Blizzard take a while to get in, because it's a large company, and because there's a whole ticket process, and there's a process of, we want to make sure this doesn't break the character. And I think this is a low priority change, but ultimately I agree with you on the impact that it has. There's just so much more poke damage in HOTS than in Overwatch.
Yeah. Murda, any last thoughts? I know we skipped over the balance patch notes, but not a whole lot changed. We can look through those real fast. Cassie got a bit of a nerf, but it's mostly just giving her scaling in line. Junkrat got a bit of a buff, but not a whole lot. Kerrigan got nerfed, we hope. Fisto, they buffed his ult cooldown. The other one, maybe it's good now. I'm not a huge fan of Fisto in general, so... Asmo got a laughable nerf. We're still going to first pick him on UCF Death Knights, and we're still going to have a 90% win rate with him, so have fun with that. Medivh got nerfed unexpectedly, so that was a bit of a surprise. I'm sorry, I'm just racking through them, because Murda, again, we got to get him out of here. Force of Will got nerfed from 8 to 9 seconds, so, like, I don't know. I didn't think Medivh was in a great spot to begin with. Brightwing got slightly buffed.
And I'll pause you here. I think they did a lot to supports in this patch. Trying to make them a bit more sustainable. For the most part, you see a few of them getting more health regen and bigger health pools. But then they also tried tuning back some of the ones we've seen recently, Tyrande, Whitemane, trying to slowly tweak them into realistic win rates. Speaking anecdotally, I haven't seen much of a change yet. Tyrande losing some of that spell armor on the Kaldari resistance at level 1, I think is a big deal. Reducing some of that range from her Lunar Blaze talent at level 4, I think is also in the right direction. But Tyrande overall, from what I've seen, is still playing about the same. Whitemane, same deal. I don't think it's really changed too much, but maybe it's putting them just a bit more closer to feeling fair.
Yeah, from what I can tell with Tyrande and Whitemane, I've played a lot of them, is that they're a little easier to blow up now. They're a little easier to get out of the way. They're not as oppressive. But like you were saying, a lot of supports got changed, and I really feel like why I'm not a huge fan of Blizzard's marketing, in that they buffed Lily's health and they buffed Morales' health. People forget these were nerfs that had occurred to Lily and Morales during support apocalypse, last year. And so like to me, they're just being brought back in line. Like, we could have told you a year ago, like, hey, nerfing Lily's health is not a good idea. Like, I know you don't like double support, but like, I don't think Lily and Morales are the problem.
I understand. I mean, these changes are pretty obvious if you look at Blizzard's design philosophy, which is, to buff underperforming talents, to nerf overperforming and overwinning talents, and to, bring heroes in line in general by, just tweaking their health or tweaking certain things about them. You don't, looking at the Critic Kitten table, you don't see a whole lot of huge changes. You see some contradictory ones too. Stukov is very high up in Hero League, but in Team League he's down. So it's tough to say. You should watch the VOD of Cavalier Guest going over this patch notes for this update. He goes through. He doesn't look at any of the patch notes. He just looks at who was changed, and he correctly predicts the changes made on like 80% of the heroes.
So yeah, my thing is not that these are bad changes. I think they're good changes. But again, this is all this is all stemming from the fact that Blizzard took a equality brush and equally nerfed all of them a year ago. And I disagreed with that change back then, as everyone did. It's like, why are you nerfing Why are you nerfing Uther when like he doesn't do that much to begin with? Because it's just a broad stroke nerf.
That being said, Lily was like top win rate in lower divisions. She has such a high win rate before this buff.
Lily is Lily, Lily's Lily. We're going on. Diablo, Lightning Breath, cooldown increase. Man, that's kind of out of nowhere, but I mean, it makes sense.
It's seeing too much play. 70 seconds was too short. You had it in every fight. Of course, you saw it paired so much with Purification Salvo, which I think puts these cooldowns on similar timers now. I can't think off the top of my head, but they're both 90 seconds now, so it's still possible. But Rexxar, I don't think this change to Rexxar is going to do anything. He's still a garbage tier hero. Do not use him in your competitive matches.
Dragonshire or Brax's Holdout, he is a sleeper pick that you can use to bully people off the point, especially if it's like Sonya. That's like the one caveat. So
with the change to Brax's Holdout, maybe he's not as good.
Yeah. Uriel, Aegis Flight, they re-nerfed that, so they buffed that from 25 to 35, and then they nerfed it once they remembered that it was a really good talent. So I don't think this will change Uriel's priority at all.
I mean, it also is a buff, a nerf to armor stacking in general.
Yeah, which has become really prevalent recently.
Yeah, I think you're going to see that at BlizzCon. So I'm very excited to see what the BlizzCon meta ends up being, because it's going to be a clash of different philosophies. It's going to be your EU versus the Korean NA, and like NA is going to bring its crazy tank meta in and see if it works at all. If it works, expect Korea to steal it. If it doesn't, expect NA to stop using it.
Get knocked out in the first round again.
The Heroes Help event was a huge success with streamers from NGS, Heroes Hearth, Heroes Hype, and others from around the community. We played in a charity tournament cast by J-How, Haloran, and Gillyweed. And in that tournament, we raised over $2,500 for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation by offering rewards. One of those rewards was a guest spot interview on the Nexus Now podcast. And here with us now, we have the winner of that prize. It's Womack. How you doing, man?
The great and powerful Womack to you, murder.
Oh, sorry. The great and
Yes, sir.
powerful Womack.
My mighty Womack, I beseech before you, please tell us what inspired you to want to be on our podcast.
Well, I saw the cause for breast cancer, and nobody loves boobs more than me. So I just started throwing money at it, and I happened to join you guys. In retrospect, though, I could have gotten a Heroes Hearth jersey, which probably would have been a better use of my money.
For real.
Well, this at least this recording will last forever.
It will.
Either the thing is either everything is going to go up in the podcast unedited, or none of it's going to go up. So like it's one or the other.
So Womack, I've known you for, I want to say like at least 2 years now. I think we've played. You've been on Team Skyarch, and I've been friends with the captain Skyarch over there, and had the opportunity to play with you in the past. So just kind of let our listeners know who you are and where you come from, kind of what you've done around the Heroes of the Storm community over the past couple of years.
I've played in a lot of leagues, community leagues like Chair League and NGS, and I'm a veteran of the scene. And if you play in gold or silver or even bronze, I am the troll that ruins your games.
Fair enough.
What's your trolling look like? What do you usually employ as your methods?
First pick Murky or Nova.
Okay, the Nova sounds worse than the Murky. Am I right, guys?
No, I'd actually say no. I think Nova's underrated. I think she's still like tier 3, but like she's not as trolly as she used to be, like because they've slowly given her more buffs. I think Murky is kind of still garbage. Like he's just so easy to deal with, especially
Nova
like
has
first
kill
pick.
potential.
Yeah, Nova does. Yeah, she is the #1 player killer. Yeah, no, I don't think Nova is that much of a troll, but I mean, she's not the best to be sure. But if you want to play her, man, that's it's your life, man.
So what's your play style on these heroes? Are you just bribe all the way, Womack?
Oh yeah, bribe is super important, especially on Nova. I like to just lane as my team is fighting in the middle, and they're pinging me, and I just stand there. I'm like, guys, got to soak XP.
I mean, you're not wrong.
XP does win games. We heard from Kala when he was on the show, and he said, "You're missing XP, you're missing the game." So, okay, all right, it's one way to win.
Yeah.
One way to win. All right, so tell us. You talked about the Nova, you talked about the Murky, but in terms of the game itself, looking at the lore of these characters, who's your favorite hero introduced into the game thus far?
My favorite hero is probably Thrall. My favorite hero, or Sylvanas.
Is that because of the lore behind him or her, or is it because of their kits when they got into the game? Because both of them were pretty broken on release, if I recall correctly.
It's pretty much the kit, but you know what? Thrall and Sylvanas are also, I played World of Warcraft for a really long time. I started playing in vanilla, and their backstory is really good. They're familiar characters to me, and then when I played this game, I fell in love with Thrall and Sylvanas just for their their big sticks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and anybody remember Thrall on release? Because this argument always gets brought up. Who was the most overpowered hero of all time? And Thrall at release usually gets brought up to the top, where he had, if I recall correctly, battle momentum at 7, and he also had Tempest Fury at 16. So you could get 5 hits off, which would essentially give you back all of your abilities, and it would keep you alive because his trait was a lot better back then as well. So
I've heard stories.
The horror, man, it was a lot. So battle momentum got removed within a month or so. That was like one of the first generic talents that got removed from a hero.
And he was just such a lane bully.
Oh yeah. Just the heal was too brutal. The scaling changes were not very kind to him, and I think that's what brought him back down to mortal levels.
So Womack, would you call yourself a horde player? Were you horde all the way in World of Warcraft?
No, actually, I was Alliance, and it was
Really?
terrible. Like when I started playing, when I started playing WoW, my friend was like, "Oh, you should come play with me." I was like, "Okay, let me go play with you." So I played an Alliance character on a PvP server, right? So, and it was a warrior. So I tried to level a warrior on a PvP server that was predominantly horde. So I would just get ganked all day long as like a level 35 in Stranglethorn Vale.
That's a classic WoW experience. Did you start during vanilla?
STV, baby.
Yeah, I started in vanilla. It was so bad I had to like quit the game for like a month because I was just like, oh my god, I can't even take this game. And then the warrior just sucked too at that time.
Yeah.
So out of like the Blizzard main franchises, you mentioned Warcraft. Is this your favorite game out of the franchise, or do you like playing StarCraft, Overwatch? Have you played any Diablo, Hearthstone, any other games you play in the Blizzard franchise?
I play pretty much all the games. Like, I back in the day I played original StarCraft way back in the day when I was like in junior high. But this is my
Nice.
favorite game right now.
Really nice. How many? If you're not too embarrassed, I know I am. How many games have you put in to Heroes?
Oh, you on my highest level character, Sylvanas, I have 848 games on Sylvanas.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
That's quite
What
a
level
few.
is that?
It's 79.
Wait.
But
I was gonna say we could guess.
no. But the thing is, I hit level 20, like when level 20 was the cap,
Mm-hmm.
and then after when it converts over to the new levels, it doesn't give you it caps you out at like 75 or whatever.
Right.
Oh.
So she's been on the back burner because she
Mhm.
wasn't quite as good as she was before.
Yeah. What do you think
Are
of
you
the
sad about that?
Yeah, the new changes.
You know what? I just roll with the flow. Every
Mhm.
time this game constantly changing. It's not like it's like before, like back in the day, like when Cloud9 won BlizzCon, like the meta was so stagnant for like 3 or 4 months. Like the meta didn't
Mhm.
change, and it was KT or Li Ming or whatever, and that was it.
Tirada.
Tyrande. So you only had like 10 heroes to play,
Mhm.
but now it's constantly changing. You could play anything.
What do you think of the meta right now?
I know what I've been on a super hot losing streak, so I can't even comment on that.
Well, all right. So, Womack, you talk about the game constantly evolving. We did spend some time during this episode talking about the newest hero in the game, Mal'Ganis. Do you have any opinions on this hero?
I've only played a couple games with him. First off, I looked on the thing. This Blizzard takes my money. When I saw the bundle, I was like, all right, I gotta get this. This is too hot right here. And that ultimate is crazy, where you just swap life with somebody else. So you just
Dark
be
conversion.
just getting beat down and be like, you know what, you're gonna die now.
I should note for everyone listening is that we record the normal podcast on this Sunday, and we're recording today on Thursday. So Mal'Ganis has been released. And so we have initial impressions, probably all of us a little bit. I know Dark Conversion is like people think it has a lot of playmaking potential, but I still think the Swarm, Kerrigan Swarm, is just completely brutal. If you check Hot Select right now, I think he's at something like a 60% win rate. So he's probably gonna
wait, Jackster. I saw a clip of B-Kid talking about how he wants to use Dark Conversion. So his idea is get very low on health, just into towers, however you got to do it, and then just hide out in a bush, waiting for someone to walk by.
And hope the enemy team
swipe.
does not have an Ana, because I've been able to shut down so many Mal'Ganises in the past few days that have gone Dark Conversion. Just throw my heal mitigation on it, and they think that they're gonna get like a 3k heal, and it's just not there. It's the easiest thing to hit. So just hope you're not going against an Ana or whatnot. But I suppose I don't know if that's like gonna be the meta. I think it's busted. He's busted regardless of which ult you take, so it doesn't really matter.
So, Womack, do you normally grab the new hero when it comes out?
Yeah, normally I buy him, but I don't really play him because when you get in a group with people, there's always that one guy who's like, "Oh, I just want to play it real quick." So I always
and then they
like,
steal it from you.
Yeah, but I'm okay with it though, because like I feel bad like whenever you play like a new hero, and they're always so good when they first come out, and then 2 weeks later they just get like super banned.
Yeah.
I mean, nerfed, and then it just feels bad. Like, oh, I remember when I just used to people with this character. Now it's not so easy.
Okay, that's definitely gonna get bleeped. But okay.
What are you doing in HOTS now? What are you spending most of your HOTS time on? Just kind of like ranking up, having fun, grouping with friends. What are you doing?
Just losing Hero League games mostly.
Oh, fair.
What's your rank sitting at so far this season?
Oh, right now Silver 4.
Ooh,
all right.
My placements was like 1 and 9.
Yikes,
oh
that's
man,
great. Have you had a chance to play Team League yet?
1 game.
Ah, so you're not out of placements yet. Okay. Have you played Team League before in the past, like consistently, or?
Yeah, I've played it a lot. I've played it every season.
Another thing we talked about in this episode were the changes that came to Team League during this season and how you can queue with any number of people now. Do you find this impacting your games at all, or how do you think this might affect you in the future looking at Team League?
I'm not sure about how I feel with the changes, because I feel like Team League really should just be 5s, and I think Hero League should move out of just being solo queue and just, there was a point where you could 5-man queue for Hero League, and then they changed it to be a 2 or a 3 stack, and then now it's just solo queue. I think if you took Hero League and you made it, you could do Hero League as whatever, and just leave Team League as a 5-man stack, because the game really only has magic when you have 5 of your friends together.
I think Blizzard agrees too. I think that's what they've always wanted to do. That's what they did with the original iteration, where you had to make a team. I remember that, and then when they changed it to people can random into each other, or it's a little looser. But like every time, it's been the trouble of not being able to get enough people to play at a certain time, and so Matchmaker suffers because of it. And then people don't want to play it because the matchmaker is not that great. And then it's just, it's a tragedy of the commons scenario. And so, at least with this change, a lot more games are getting played. But yeah, I'm not sure if they're high quality games or not.
How do you guys feel about the Team League situation? Like,
you can listen to the pod that we're gonna release. We talk about it for what, another 20 minutes? Ghost going
something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's good and bad points. Is matchmaking working for you and from your position, Womack?
You know what? Like sometimes I get like you get people in your game like, wow, why did I get this guy? But then I realize that that's where I am. So I just just suck it up and just play the game.
Right. I mean, that is a really good way to view it, and it goes to all of the people who might feel just despondent about their team. Oh, you have a first pick, Murky. You have a first pick, Nova. Oh, someone just gave up. Or says GG 3 minutes into the game. I had that just last night where someone said GG and I was on Zagara. But we just were able to delay the game out long enough and we won. It's keeping a positive attitude is like half of what goes into winning a game. I feel.
I've played I've played this game so many times. Like I've lost games being up 4 levels, and I've won games being down 4 levels. Like the game's not over. The game really comes down to a late game team fight. That's really what this whole game is about.
A lot of times it feels like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's definitely a good comeback mechanic in the game, right? That you mentioned being able to just take that team fight at the end of the game. But do you feel like the experience on the losing side of a game where you just lose that fight right at the end and it costs you the entire map, do you find that version of HOTS to be fun or on the receiving end of a loss like that?
I feel I would prefer to lose a game at the level 23 to level 23 in a team fight and be like, I just got outplayed or whatever. they won the game, good game to them, than to get cheesed or to be down 5 levels and my team going GG 3 minutes in, and then for the rest of the game just like inting into a tower.
It's
I
rough.
agree. I agree.
My part of my journey out of the gold mines this season, because I do think I was placed wrongly, and we went over that in the main show. But part of my experience coming out of it has been what percentage of games I find are completely unwinnable, unsavable for my team, and it really doesn't matter who I'm on. I feel, but it is like a statistical 20 to 30% of games where it doesn't matter how good you are, it's just randomness will give you either teammates that don't want to play or having a bad day, if you want to give them the benefit of doubt, or you get matched up against someone who a team comp that just would beat you in any normal circumstance. And so I'm hovering around that 75% win rate, and I feel that's right around where it is. Just it's impossible to go on 100% win rate for 100 games. No matter how good you are, there are just a certain number of games that are just lost, and you got to deal with that. And that's why I usually try not to get upset about those games. The games that you should be getting upset about are the ones where you didn't try your best, or it was a close game that you did not try your best, and if you had tried even a little bit better, you might have been able to win. Those are the most frustrating games to lose.
So, are you looking forward to BlizzCon? What are you expecting out of the big event in a couple of weeks?
I expect nothing. That virtual ticket, they were like, "Oh, you can play Classic WoW." I was like, "Forget Classic WoW. It was a terrible game, and anybody who Classic WoW was so great, they'll be pleasantly surprised."
Nostalgia goggles.
Oh, it was so bad. Not getting a mount till 40, having to run through places, summoning stones, PvP.
Is there anything specific to Heroes of the Storm you'd like to see announced at BlizzCon?
Whatever they do, everything they do is great. So whatever they do.
No. You can't take that side, because that's going to give them permission structure to, I don't know, release more Li Ming skins, or say that
is there a hero
on the way, and
is there a specific hero that you like that you want to see in the game?
Maybe Anduin. Anduin
That'd be a
might
fun
be.
one.
But,
I actually think Anduin is a top. I think he's probably going to be out there. I mean, if you look at the Hearthstone roster, all the original heroes from Hearthstone, Anduin's the only one not yet in Heroes of the Storm out of the original 9 over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Garrosh and Valir just got added earlier.
Do you watch HGC?
I watch it quite a bit.
Nice. You excited? You got any favorites in the tournament?
I'm partial to my man Crone with that fro.
Oh,
nice.
Shout out to Crowan. He was on podcast number 7 over here. We had a great time talking to him. So you have that in common with Crowan now. You've both been guests on the Nexus Now podcast.
Esteemed guests.
Esteemed guests.
Murder, I'll send you a picture later of me with my fro.
Ooh.
There you go.
Do you dye it like Crowan does?
No, I shaved it off. It was a while ago I had a fro like that, but when I remember Crone when he was on GFE and he got kicked off GFE for fan, and then I felt bad for the dude, I was like, damn, I was watching him in Heroes of the Dorm, and he was just super cool, you know what I mean? And then he just kicks off a GFE. I was like, wow, that's kind of a pretty, mean thing to do to your boy. So I was rooting for him, and then he came up to Heroes Hearth, and then boom, bang, boom, and my man's back on top.
How far do you think they're gonna? Yeah, bing, bang, bop. How far do you think they're gonna get in the tournament?
Not far.
Oh,
we have a realist here.
Much love, much love.
Yeah,
but they'll have fun doing it though. They're at BlizzCon. What more can you ask for? You're playing against Koreans. You might as well play against robots.
I think we all have Gen G as our top seed in the tournament. We'll see how they can perform.
Miracle's looking good. I don't know if they'll be able to beat Genji, but Miracle's looking good.
Shout out to my boy Rich Hots.
Yeah, he's my boy.
for being the best melee in the world.
Wait, do you mean true. Rich on Gen G, or do you mean Rich Hots?
No, Rich on Gen G.
Okay, because Rich Hot is a very different person.
No. My bad. I should have said Gen G Rich.
Yeah.
So you've played in Nexus gaming series. I want to say at least 2 seasons, right?
3.
3. Okay,
Nice.
so three seasons in the book. So that puts you back since season 3, and we're just finishing season 5. So what do you think about all the growth that NGS has undergone, and where do you see it kind of going in the future?
That's a difficult question. Like the player base is there. There's so many people who want to play this game. There's so many divisions, and everyone. There's such a great community. But I can't tell the future as to how the whole thing works. And I don't work at NGS or I don't own it, so I don't know how they run it. But it's got to be difficult with being that there's so many people and so many teams and so much stuff.
What are you hoping? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you could give like one recommendation on how we could improve, or like one thing that like just been like, because this is your time to shine. You have the ear of 2 board members here, and including Ghost, 3 pretty influential members of the NGS staff. If there's one little thing that's been around for a while that's like been annoying, like just anything that you think we could improve upon, like what would it be?
It would probably just be like the layout of how you make matches, and the calendar is probably the most difficult thing. I wasn't the captain of the team, but in chair league or whatever, you do everything through the chair league website, and then boom, and then everybody could see it. But in NGS, I think it works through the Discord and like a captain's channel. So like it's a little bit more difficult to get everybody on the same page. Like if I have to talk to my captain and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna play on Friday at 8. Okay, yeah, we'll play Friday at 8, as opposed to some kind of message on the website where I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna do that.
Noted.
Well, Womack, I think we're coming towards the end of the interview. Before we let you go and get back to your evening of fun and hots or whatever you want to do, we do want to give you an opportunity to give some shout outs. So is there anything you want to shout out before you sign off with us?
Yeah, I got a few shout outs. I would like to shout out my man Watson from HOTUS.
Yeah.
Long time
Veterans, yeah.
HOTS friend of mine. I've played on several teams with him, and he's really really good friend to have in this game. Awesome. Shout out to my man Gofty. Shout out to Urs. Shout out to Skyarch, M58 Gogan. Shout out to Murder. Shout out to the whole gang.
Are there any streams or social media that I mean, if people who listen to this just feel so compelled and moved by your speech, is there anywhere that they can get in contact with you and maybe follow you?
Well, I don't want this to get bleeped, but I do have an adult website where you can see all of me.
Okay.
Down to the edge. No, I have Twitter and things like that. I stream a little bit, but I really don't talk in my stream. So, if you enjoy me or whatever, you can hit me up on in the game. My user tag, my Battle.net tag is Womack #1334, and hit me up. We can play some games.
I'll be sure to include it in the description.
So you really do have the last word. If you could say like one thing to everybody who's playing in NGS and listening right now, do you have anything to say to them?
Thank you for playing with me. Everybody matters in this community, and everybody, should feel good about being able to come and practice with your team and make friends and go to and play a competition against somebody else who does the same thing and feel whether you win or lose. There's one person has to win, one person has to lose, but getting there is a journey, and making your friends and playing team league. Like I said, that game is for 5 people, and if you want to practice with your teammates and have fun or whatever, it doesn't have to be super serious. You can go out there and just have fun, lose games or win games, and you're gonna have a great time. And every person matters because every team matters to make this thing work.
Well, Womack,
Well said.
we thank you a ton for your contribution to the Heroes Help donation pool and helping out the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. And we were honored and esteemed to have had you as a guest on our show. So, Womack, thank you so much. And we hope to see you inside the Nexus, my friend.
You will see me in the Nexus. You don't let me go, I let you go. And I don't know why I paid you. You should pay me.
The great and powerful Womack, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so thank you so much for that interview. Had a tremendous time, of course, doing the Heroes Help event. I know Ghost Dunk, you were also involved, and we ended up raising $2,500 for the Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Well, dude, it was so much fun. I know my team ended up winning. Shout out to Pizza Pals. But I think overall, everyone who was involved in playing, involved with setting it up, or the casters, we had such a great casting crew. Like, it was such a great event. And shout out to all the orgs involved. You had, of course, the guys from Heroes Hype. You had Heroes Hearth, NGS, Matcherino, partners with NVIDIA. And I'm sure I'm missing a couple. But everyone involved, like, a huge shout out, and you should really be proud of what happened with that. I do want to say, if you want to support this podcast and NGS in general, you can become a patron at patreon.com/Nexus Gaming Series. Every single person we get that can help contribute goes a long way. There's so much to do for NGS right now, a huge mountain to climb, and we can't do it without your support. So a lot of love and respect from me. From the rest of my hosts here to everyone who helps contribute over on Patreon. But that's going to conclude it for this show. We're going to tell you where you can find us. Me, twitch.tv/MurdaRG. Twitter, you can @ me, @MurdaRG. Ghost Dunk, where can the guys find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/GhostDunk. Follow me there. I'll be casting NGS, doing some streaming of my own, especially in the off season here in NGS. Also, we're going to be tweeting. That's going to happen. I lost my train of thought. I didn't know what I wanted to say. But I'm going to be tweeting, and I'm at twitter.com/illuminatedwax. And, hey, send me a message on Discord. Say hi.
Okay, and you can reach me at twitter.com/Jexter37. Again, I do not stream, unfortunately. Well, actually, that's actually not true. I do stream a little bit now because we are in Heroes of the Dorm, and I'm streaming my own games for my school. So if you want to watch the Death Knights play against other Heroes of the Dorm team, you can at twitch.com or twitch.tv/Jackster37.
We can tell you're not a streamer, boy. You don't even know the addresses yet.
Shout out, reminder that we are probably going to be having a meat haul soon, so be sure to stay tuned for announcements about that.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. That's going to do it for pod number 8.
And I just want to say hi to Smithel, because I don't want to wait for our lives to be over, and I want to know right now, what will it be?
All right.
The only thing holding us together, Ghost Dunk, is your singing.
It's true.